From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 10th, 2021. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will reportedly travel to the United Arab Emirates Thursday tomorrow, which would be his first official visit to the UAE since the signing of the Abraham Accords, normalizing and establishing formal diplomatic ties between the two countries. The visit was postponed a number of times because of the coronavirus pandemic and other issues. The Prime Minister will apparently be meeting with UAE Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, among other officials. And there are also reports today from Khan News of a possible meeting between the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia while he is there in the Emirates, though there is no confirmation of this as of yet. A man was arrested in Singapore for planning a deadly attack against Jews. The 20-year-old is said to be a radicalized Singaporean Muslim soldier. He was arrested today after it was discovered that he had made detailed preparations, including having a knife he would use to ambush at least 3 Jewish men as they left a synagogue after prayers and kill them, reportedly at the Magen Avot synagogue. There were also reports that the man planned to later travel to Gaza to join Palestinian terror group Hamas. Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar will serve a second term in that role in Gaza after very close runoff elections between himself and Nizar al-Wadallah yesterday. Sinwar was convicted in 1989 of conducting the kidnapping and execution of 2 IDF soldiers and had served just over 2 decades of a life sentence in an Israeli prison when he was released in 2011 as part of the Gilad Shalit prisoner exchange deal. Well, Jewish children's book author Norton Jester has died. Jester, who was also an architect, is best known for the beloved book The Phantom Tollbooth, published in 1961. Jester told Tablet magazine some years ago that his interest in words was piqued in the many Yiddish books in his parents' home growing up. They were Jewish immigrants from Romania and Poland. He said, "I just loved the language and the way the words sounded." Jester died on Monday from complications of a recent stroke. He was 91. A former Nazi guard accused of aiding and abetting murder will not face justice. 96-year-old Harry S., as he is being identified, is accused of overseeing at least 1 and likely more transports of Jews and others to their deaths during the Holocaust. Specifically mentioned in the case was the transport of 598 prisoners from the Stutthof concentration camp to the Auschwitz-Birkenau death camp on September the 10th of 1944. All but 2 of those prisoners were murdered in the gas chambers at Auschwitz. A court in Germany said today that while Harry S. was likely guilty, they were halting the proceedings due to his physical condition, that he was no longer able to reasonably represent his interests in and outside of the trial. Israel and the United States will hold their first virtual meeting of the Strategic Consultative Group under the Biden administration tomorrow. The White House said today that the meeting will be led by U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and his counterpart, Israeli National Security Advisor Meir Ben-Shabbat. The White House said the discussion will focus on regional issues, building on the close consultations between the two sides over the past several months. This meeting is part of the broader ongoing dialogue between the United States and Israel on the full range of issues of importance to the bilateral relationship, building on long-standing dialogues between our two nations under previous administrations. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, March the 10th. At 7 o'clock, we hear from Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen survivor Esther Geisels on Witness. At 8, Robert Siegel moderates a discussion with Eddie Glaude, Annette Gordon-Reed, and Rabbi David Saperstein on America's race crisis. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with feminist author Phyllis Chesler on L'chaim. At 10:30, Arab-Israeli singer, actress, and activist Mira Awad talks about Muna, the drama series she created with Michelle Divon. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 10th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.